Hi, everybody. Welcome to this installation of the Hive Talks. I've got Ross Martin with me.
Right.
All right, Ross. Yeah, we thought we'd just do a quick video to give a bit of an update on the start of the year because it's been definitely interesting from our perspective. Well, first thing that we realized is kind of how tough last year was. So at Hive, we do see a kind of disproportionate side of the market of practices that are quite engaged with developing their businesses. So most of Hive clients continue to grow through the last year. But what's happened literally kind of from January 1st is we've had way more of our, Ross and I are the consultants in the business, of our diagnostic process, which is kind of a three-phase analysis of your business where we unpick you and your objectives and what you're trying to do as a shareholder, the financial model, and the marketing system. We'll go into a bit more detail later. But maybe we used to do two a month. We've been kind of doing two a week for the whole start of the year. And what we're seeing is some pretty tight financial circumstances. Generally, growth has plateaued in most practices we've seen, and yeah, a lot of dentists waking up to the commercial realities of dentistry. That
Yeah, I think, yeah, but really, I kind of almost it's almost it's a bit like how when the government measures their kind of GDP statistics, you can only really kind of tell with hindsight. I think with that kind of view on what's happened over the last 6 or 9 months, I think weirdly, well, probably the wider economy, but dentistries have been in a bit of a hibernation phase. So we've been kind of just fighting to survive through the cold, dark months of winter, and definitely kind of people have surfaced, practice owners have surfaced in January and really been kind of quite keen, and you've seen the same things we've seen as well, that things have been getting slowly more difficult and keen to kind of attack it a bit more in the first quarter of 2024. Definitely kind of happened on the sales and acquisitions front as well. So, our dedicated sales and acquisitions division have been actually kind of noticeably quiet throughout the last 6 to 9 months, but much more kind of activity going on now with, people selling, definitely people buying, much more interest in that, and still the kind of perennial desire to kind of set up a squat practice as well. So, yeah, just much more activity, and I think is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, there were deals that we saw kind of run through last year that should have completed many times that didn't, and then they completed kind of Jan and Feb, which was great. So there is, yeah, this this isn't meant to be a doom and gloom thing. It was more of just a reflection of last year was really tough. So if you felt it, that's cool. It genuinely was tough in the market. We're seeing a bit more regularity coming back. There's still quite a few corporates talking down what practice values might be. They still are cooled off. I can kind of tell you that there are people that are trying to come to the market and bring kind of outside funds to the market that might bump it back up as well. So we don't know when it's going to come back. It may never come back to the heady highs where there was at one point, was it 10 times multiples on a million quid of EBITDA? So not sure that'll happen again because that was massive. But we may be seeing better values. Um, there's been an interesting element as well to going through all these diagnostics because, like I say, it's part of what Ross and I do, and it's a kind of core service to Hive, but it's not something that we try and force on people because they kind of have to want to engage with the process. It's a bit of it's quite a lot of work on our end as well. A lot of liaising with the practice, a lot of data analysis on Ross's part, and a lot of time talking with the client. So we kind of want the client to really want to do it. We don't want to have to sell it to them. But it's been, yeah, there's been an interesting phenomenon. I'm sure we've all had it before that when we get to the end of the process, the client's like, I kind of knew that. I couldn't tell you what the issue was, how to solve it, or how we got there, or why it existed. But I kind of get it now. So hopefully there's kind of clarity on why all this stuff has been happening and how to build out of it. So all of the tactics that you'll deploy are broadly the same. They're just more urgent now. So I uh, used to be a bit more chilled out, probably Ross, is that fair? And kind of be a bit more pragmatic and be like, okay, actually, the client can do that thing that way. It is suboptimal. We've just got to make sure we deal with these two or three big things over here.
Mm.
I don't believe you can afford to be doing anything suboptimal now.
Yeah,
Um,
agreed.
so, examples of that, it's basically very easy to grow a dental practice up until a couple of years ago. You kind of needed to invest in marketing. We all knew that. There's kind of different strategies, different methods, different philosophies. Ultimately, it's lead generation. You want to drive inquiries to your business. And to some degree, that was enough. The customer wasn't very discerning or informed, and would go, well, it looks like a dentist. I'll probably get my dentistry here. They've definitely tightened up. So part of that is the economic conditions. Um, Part of it is I just think there's a greater expectation on dentistry in terms of the customer experience, which none of this is new to anyone, but it's just more serious now. Ross, can you explain it in a
Mm.
better way than me?
Well, I think it for me, a lot of it's about this kind of well, to use the kind of the term aggregation of marginal gains. I think you can get away with doing one or two things out of 10 and you probably do okay. But in our opinion, these days, you have to be doing the maximum in your business. So, even whether it's just by digital advertising, well, I don't think you should just buy digital advertising. You should also be kind of tracking what that's returning you and how it manifests itself in kind of cash collection in your business. But you shouldn't just be doing that as well. You should also be undertaking call tracking and making sure the phones are getting answered. So, we've had well, more than one case where we've evidenced huge volume of inquiries from customers, but there's this kind of black hole, I suppose, as to what happens because reception is saying, well, we've had three people call up, whereas on the front end we're getting digital information that's telling us there's like 33 people turning up. So and we're not talking small amounts here; we're talking massive kind of chasms there. So I do believe it's a practice owner's obligation to kind of join up all those dots to make sure we're getting all those little small gains. And this isn't just about marketing. It's also about kind of the financial elements as well. It's also about the team members. The list is quite pervasive in my opinion. We want everything.
Yeah, like if we take tax, for example, we've always been pretty dogmatic that we believe you should pay as little tax as possible. Um, and clients were like, yeah, okay, and they would try and do things if they were straightforward. But definitely through the tax season, there was a notable higher engagement of people going, what can I do? What do I do? I've got all these receipts. Do they reduce my tax bill? And they may do. There may be short-term things you can do, and I can send you a blog on them. Drop me an email if you want it. What you need to be doing from a tax perspective is the same as what you need to be doing with your business, and that's kind of looking forward strategically and thinking what changes can I put in place today that manifest themselves as value in 12 months and longer, because that's how any strategy actually works. So I think we're seeing a separation of the market. I think most people know that smaller practices are now unsustainable. The good news is they still have a value and there'll still be a buyer out there. So it's not a terrible time by any means, but if your practice isn't big enough, it won't be able to make money. And all that will happen is your dentistry will subsidize that business more and more, which you may be cool with, but it will mean you're living off less money. So there's kind of all of these things that are happening, which also make it a bit of an exciting time because the demand in dentistry, I was talking about the lead generation side of things, it's still pretty straightforward to deliver leads to a dental practice. Harder to convert them. You've got to spend more time with them. We're uh, There was very few dental practices we worked with over the years that had good reporting on their leads. There's no software that'll do it for you. Any software is just a tool, a platform for you to put in data. You will need one person or a team of people who take absolute ownership of every lead. When that's in place, then you can really start to optimize and get those efficiencies on your marketing. But yeah, it is exciting because kind of well, you either fight, freeze, or flee, I suppose, in this situation. So if you want to fight, I would come and speak to us, basically, because we can help you. Uh, don't freeze, please. It is not time to bury your head in the sand, kind of ostrich style. you know, we've spoken about this for 9 years. Like it's not. We always believed you should take a kind of an aggressive approach with your business and try and optimize anything. It's just now a non-negotiable, I suppose. If you're owning a business, you are absolutely responsible for optimizing all the elements of it, and nothing can be done overnight. And there is no silver bullet solution. And flee the option isn't a bad option. Do come and talk to us about that as well. Um, if your practice might be worth £700,000, but could be losing a lot of money. So that's not an uncommon situation that we see. So you could sell your business, getting a job as an associate, have 700 grand. That's kind of towards your retirement, and work a few more years as a dentist on 40-45%. You might find someone to pay you 50%, but you probably won't be grossing very much because it won't be the best practice. So it's kind of the options are actually okay, to be honest. It's just that middle one that's scary right now. What do you have a feel for where people are at the moment, Ross?
Well, I think the one thing I can say is, Dan and I really enjoy kind of running our analysis and diagnostics with people. It's a very well-trodden path. We purposely built Hive so that we can capture all those little move all the little levers to get all the little marginal gains. But I can, our guarantee to anyone out there is that if you're undecided or you're not quite sure, you've kind of seen the big bear and you don't know whether to fight, flee, or freeze. The process that we run is, very empirical. It's built up very carefully. It's a very well-trodden path. I can promise that, our synthesis of all the circumstances at play will lead you to a point where you're very clear about what you can do next. And genuinely, it can be, either fight or flee for for a range of practices. We rarely endorse the freeze. Can't remember when we would have done, but the decision to make the other two is the ultimate kind of conclusion of the work that we play with people, and that's our guarantee to people out there who choose to run a diagnostic with us.
Yeah, like I said, it's not a panacea or a silver bullet. It'll just tell you where you are and what you can expect next. So there's no solutions, there's only trade-offs, and you've got to figure out what your potential trade-offs are and then make them. At the moment, there isn't a kind of let's just wait and see approach. I don't think I'll confidently say that's not going to work in the current environment. But there will be enough people that do that. So that's a big opportunity for anyone that's looking to scale and grow a practice. We're very confident in the diagnostic process. So if you get to the end of it, don't think you got what you wanted from it, we'll give you 100% refund on it as well. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. Please get in contact with us. We'll get our emails put up on the screen. Drop us a line direct. We'll have a chat. But yeah, exciting times ahead. The year is looking brighter. And yeah, good. Thank you, everyone. Cheers, Ross.
Thank you very much.